Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We about to start our tafsir, inshallah, with Sheikh Ahmed Abdallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Test.
My dear brothers and sisters, if you're planning to join us,
Test.
please open your phone or get a Quran book and open on Surah Al-Nazi'at. And inshallah, we're going to start with ayah number 15, the confrontation between Moses and Pharaoh, which is page 584. Surah Al-Nazi'at, page 584. Is everybody ready, inshallah, to start? Surah Al-Nazi'at, verse number 15, page 584. This is where we stopped last time. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتاك حديث موسى. This is where we stopped last time, inshallah. هل أتاك حديث موسى. So this verse starts with a question. هل is called the حرف استفهام, and the verse itself starts with a question. Allah Azza wa Jal will start with a question. Sometimes He will start a surah with a question. So this kind of tafsir class that we have, inshallah, it's an engaging tafsir class where I want you to engage with me and I want you to, ask questions. And I will be asking you questions for you to answer back, okay? So harf al-istifham, questioning, starting a sentence with a question, it builds excitement and it builds anticipation for the story that's about to be told. I want you to give me an example from a surah that you know that starts with a question. Raise your hand if you want to answer. Yes, sir. Yes? Surah Al-Insan. Say the verse for us. Another surah that starts with hal. Another surah that starts with a question. النبأ عما يتساءلون. Another surah. الغاشية. الغاشية. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية. Another surah. Yes, raise your hand. ألم 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 نشرح ألم نشرح لك صدرك. And another surah with ألم ألم ترى كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل. It's important to understand that the surah starts with a question. It's building a tashwiq, it's building excitement, it's building anticipation. This surah did not start with a question, but this portion of the surah, the confrontation between Musa alayhi salam, and Pharaoh. هل أتاك, has the news of Moses to you. Ataka, to come. Okay? There's a difference between ja'a and ataka. They will be both translated in the Quran as someone coming or something to come. What is the difference between ata and ja'a? Ata is something that comes quickly. When Allah Azza wa Jal puts the verb ata, it means quickness in what's about to happen. So for example, we were exposed to this in Surah An-Naba when Allah Azza wa Jal said, يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ, when it will be blown into the trumpet. Is this a better mic? Yeah. Oh yes, mashallah. There's an echo now. يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ, when it will be blown into the trumpet. And then what happened? What happened after the trumpet is blown? فَتَأْتُونَ, and then you come quickly. There's no delay. It's time for Judgment Day. You see? Ata. Another place where it was ja'a, for example, taking a longer time, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ, when the victory of Allah comes. That may take some time. وَجَاءَتْ سَكْرَةُ الْمَوْتِ, when death comes. That may take some time. وَجَاءَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَعَهَا سَائِقٌ وَشَهِيدٌ, on the day of judgment, when the nafs comes with the two angels, the driver and the witness. So that's the difference between ata and ja'a. هل أتاك حديث? Hadith is a conversation, something that is new. من حدث, something that is new, something that is repeated. هل أتاك حديث موسى? Does anyone know what Musa in Hebrew? What is the name of Musa in Hebrew? Moshe. What does Moshe mean? Anybody? Yes? Huh? I'm sorry? I can't hear. River. Close. Moshe means that which is plucked from water. The word Moshe means that which is plucked or taken from water. Subhanallah, the name perfectly describes what happened to Musa alayhi salam. هل أتاك حديث موسى? Any questions in this ayah right now? Okay. إذ, when, إذ. What's the difference between إذ and إذا? We talked about that last time in Surah An-Naba, and we talked about it before. إذ and إذا. What's a surah that starts with إذا? إذا الشمس كورت. What's the difference between إذ and إذا? إذ قال ربك للملائكة إني خالق بشرا من طين. When Allah Azza wa Jal told the angels, I am creating a human from clay. إذ قال ربك. And then إذا الشمس كورت. إذ is used in the Quran for past tense. When Allah Azza wa Jal uses إذ, it's in the past tense. Okay? When إذا is used, it's in for the future. Okay? When إذا is used, it's for the future. And all of the things that are going to happen in Judgment Day, you will always find them with إذا. Because to us, it's going to happen. إذا الشمس, okay? When the sun is rolled up. Ironically, even though إذا is for the future, but the verb, we're going on a tangent now, the verb used for the sun, kuwirat, is in the what? Past tense. Why is that? Because, yes, because everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already happened. And it also, something in the past tense, it's for sure. It's as if it's already happened. It's a done deal. إذ ناداه when ربه بالوادي المقدس طوى. When Allah Azza wa Jal, but Allah did not use the word Allah. He said, they used the word what? Rabb. Why would Allah Azza wa Jal use the word Rabb and then sometimes use the word Allah? Anybody wants to take a shot? Remember, this is an engaging tadbir, advanced reflection class. I want you to squeeze your brain in trying. This is how I want you to approach the Quran. It's not just reading the translation, it's always asking the why. Why wouldn't Allah Azza wa Jal say, إِذْ نَادَاهُ Allah, when Allah called on him? Why? Why use the word Rabb? When you find the word Rabb, you will feel gentleness. What's Rabbul Bayt? What's a Rabbul Bayt? Anybody translate the word Rabbul Bayt for me? The head of a household, right? Are you a head of a household? If you are, tell me what you do for your kids. You provide what for them? Shelter and food and water and healthcare and education and safety. And so when Allah Azza wa Jal introduces himself to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he introduced himself with the word what? Rabb. Iqra bism rabbika. And when he introduced himself to Musa, Innani ana rabbuk. I am your Lord. Fakhla'na alayk. And we in our daily prayers, we say Alhamdulillah Rabb al-Alameen. And we declare his lordship in ruku', Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. And we declare his rububiyyah, his lordship in sujood, and we say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la and Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. So Allah Azza wa Jal called on Moses and told him, listen, I am your Rabb. I am the one who has been taking care of you from day one. I am the one responsible for your nourishment, for your sustenance, for your education, for your health. I am the one who will take care of you. I am the one who will take your life. I am the one who will judge you. I am the one who will see you through the sirat. I am the one from A to Z. From A to Z, that's the word Rabb. This is such a big word. Such a big word. Bilwadi al-Muqaddas, the sacred valley. The name of this wadi is Tuwa. Bilwadi al-Muqaddas, Tuwa. That's the name of the sacred valley. The story of Moses, I want you... The story of Moses is like this circle. Last time I said I'm going to throw all the pens that don't write, and I didn't. Huh? New ones? The story of Musa alayhi salam is like this circle, mentioned many times in multiple locations in the Quran. And every place in the Quran is as if you're looking at it from a different angle. So I want you today to just envision that it's not the comprehensive, detailed story. We're just looking at it from a different angle today for a specific reason, for a specific purpose. Okay? Any questions so far? Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, so Rabb is latifa. Rabb is gentleness. You will find when Allah Azza wa Jal uses the word Rabb, He will use it in certain situations where kindness and mercy are usually shown. When Allah Azza wa Jal uses the word Allah, it's sternness and firmness. Like we've seen with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's 99 beautiful names, Asma'ullah al-Husna, you will find some names such as Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. And you'll also find some names such as Al-Jabbar, Al-Mutakabbir. Do you see what I mean? Example. We already covered this in Surah An-Naba. There are two types of jaza. Two types of jaza. Pay very close attention, okay? On the Day of Judgment, Allah Azza wa Jal will judge the non-believers. In Surah An-Naba, jaza'an wifaqa. Jaza'an wifaqa, okay? Jaza'an, a compensation in a judgment, muwafiq, in balance, perfect by the deeds that they have done. Not an ounce more or less. The charges will fit the crime. Okay? Not a single ounce more of punishment in hellfire or a day more than they deserve. Jaza'an wifaqa. Okay? But when it comes to the believers, what did Allah Azza wa Jal say? جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا. جزاء, a compensation for the believer from their kind and gentle Rabb. عطاء, a gift, like إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ. عطاء, it's a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal, because there's nothing that we can do that will match or deserve paradise. Not enough prayers, not enough fasting, not enough charity. There is nothing that we can do that is deserving to go into paradise. We enter paradise with His rahmah. And then inside paradise, it's our deeds that determine which level in paradise we get in. So He used the word Rabb with the believers, not with the non-believers. جزاء من ربك. جزاء من ربك. Okay? Does that answer it? Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's a very nice way of looking at it. But I want you to hold on to this word Rabb. Hold on to it, because it's going to make a lot of sense as we move forward into this ayah, okay? But I really like the way this is reflection right there, and tadabbur. All right, next ayah. Allah Azza wa Jal now gives an order to Musa alayhi salam. What's the order? اذهب. اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to Pharaoh, for he has transgressed. Does anybody remember? Oh, I have to draw another circle. The word طغى. What does this circle has to do with the word طغى? From Surah An-Naba, yes, the previous surah. What does طغى and the circle have to do with anything? Anybody remember? The boundaries. When you go outside the boundaries of what's halal and haram, and you transgress, you are now what? طغى. You have transgressed. Okay? I want you to envision with me a cup of water, and the cup is full to the brim, and the next drop will make this water spill over. When that water spills over, it's what? طغى. Okay? Now pay very close attention. This word طغى is written like this. Right? It's written like that. طغى. Okay? There's another place. Great. In Surah Al-Haqqa, where that word is written like this. Can you see, sisters? Can anybody tell me the difference? Not this brother over here, because I know he knows. Can anybody tell me the difference between this and that? Throughout the Quran, you will find the word طغى written with a ya, and in only one location, the word طغى is written with an alif. This word طغى was used with Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. When Allah Azza wa Jal opened the skies and the heavens with water, and everything started to flood, and starting to طغى. Inna lamma طغى الماء. The only place in the Quran where طغى is written like this with an alif, when the overflow is actually something tangible, which is water. But everywhere else in the Quran, when it's written like this, then the overflow or the transgression is behavior in nature. You see what I mean? Just a little side bit. Go to Pharaoh, for he has transgressed. What kind of transgression has Pharaoh done from other places in the Quran that you know about? Share with us. He enslaved, yes. He called himself God, yes. He killed, yes. يذبحون أبناءكم, yes. He was a very bad man. He was the tyrant of his time, committing genocide, yes, against the nation of Israel, correct? And he would enslave them, starve them, correct? He was a tyrant, right? Allah Azza wa Jal orders, and he was the king of the greatest empire known to man at that time, the Egyptian empire, correct? And he called himself God, ma'adallah. So the man is powerful beyond recognition. Beyond recognition. There wasn't at that time any country that could stand to the Egyptian army at that time. There was no United Nations. He had total and absolute control over everything. Yes? Allah Azza wa Jal, did Allah Azza wa Jal send an army to this genocidal maniac? He sent Moses. And what was the thing that Allah Azza wa Jal told Moses to do? The next ayah. He told him to do what? فَقُلْ, right? Go and talk to him. The mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal armed Musa alayhi salam with many signs. With many signs. And he empowered him with many miracles. But the first thing that Allah Azza wa Jal tells Musa to do was what? فَقُلْ, talk to him. And this ayah, فَقُلْ هَلْ لَكَ إِلَىٰ أَن تَزَكَّى, when you translate this ayah, هَلْ لَكَ, would you be willing to purify yourself? It is a very gentle statement. It is a very gentle statement. Allah Azza wa Jal is teaching us a lesson in da'wah right now. When you are confronted with a non-believer, or when you are confronted with someone who is a Muslim, but you see him praying wrong or doing something wrong, remember this ayah. Not to scold this person, not to be mean to this person. You want to be kind, you want to be gentle. Your first approach to any brother or any sister that is doing something that's wrong, فَقُلْ هَلْ لَكَ, would you be willing to purify yourself? The first thing that Allah Azza wa Jal ordered Musa alayhi salam to say to Pharaoh is what? Purify. This is very important. What's the second thing that Musa told Pharaoh? What's the second thing? I want you to read with me. وَأَهْدِيَكَ. What's أهديك mean? Guide. Guide you to who? To who? To your Rabb. What's the third thing? What's the third verb? وَأَهْدِيَكَ إِلَى رَبِّكَ فَتَخْشَى. What does تَخْشَى mean? Fear. Somebody said fear, right? But there are many different types of fear in the Quran. We talked about that last time. If you don't remember, it's okay. Al-khashya is fear based out of what? If you say this, I'm going to get you a cup of coffee. on me. Fear based on knowledge? Who said knowledge? Nobody? Okay, I'm going to keep the coffee for myself. Al-khashya is fear based on knowledge. This is very important. There is an ayah in the Quran, very famous. إنما يخشى الله من عباد العلماء. The people who have knowledge fear Allah, as the brother said. What's your name, brother? Khalid. And actually also there's another ayah in Surah Al-Kahf that we recite every week. You remember the story between Musa and Al-Khidr? And the story between Musa and the guy who was knowledgeable. And what did the guy do? What did the guy do? The first thing that he did was what? He punctured what? The boat, right? And the second thing that he did was he did what? He killed the little boy, right? And then the third thing that he did was what? Yes, he erected the wall, right? And then when Musa alayhi salam lost patience, and then Al-Khidr decided to give him an explanation, what was the explanation that he gave for killing the boy? Yes? Afraid khashya. So he killed the boy based on what? Fear, because Al-Khidr had what? Knowledge. That's another example of why the word khashya. But we go to the sequence, because the sequence is important. The first thing that Musa alayhi salam, before guidance, if you are not on the straight path of Allah Azza wa Jal, if you don't have guidance, and if you want Allah Azza wa Jal to guide you, what's the first thing that you need to do? What's the first thing that you need to do? Purify. What does that mean? What does that mean, I need to purify? What does that mean? Sincerity, but what also does it mean? I want to come to the masjid. I want to be guided. I want to do this. What's the first thing I have to confess? I have to confess what I'm doing wrong. I need to purify myself first. The first thing is purification. Once you start confessing that, Ya Allah, what I'm doing is wrong. Ya Allah, I'm going to make tawbah. The guidance start to come now. The guidance start to come. فَقُلْ هَلْ لَكَ إِلَىٰ أَن تَزَكَّى. Would you like to purify yourself? Would you like to confess that what you have been doing to the people of Israel is wrong? Would you like to purify yourself from the wrong things that you know that you're doing is wrong? What you know that this is wrong. وَأَهْدِيَكَ, and I will guide you to your Rabb. Does anybody remember the difference between fa and thumma? Because it's going to come in a beautiful way right now. Fa and wa and thumma. Does anybody remember? Yeah? Yes. Wa, what does wa do? What does wa do? I ate an apple, orange. I make wudu, salah. I played soccer. I went to school. I went to school. Soccer. I ate an apple. Wa. Because wa, the sequence is not what? It doesn't matter. The sequence is not important. And the duration between eating the apple and the orange is not what? Is not important. I made wudu. Then which one? Fa or thumma? Fa. Because the sequence is what? Important. And the duration has to be what? Small. Quickly. It happens, fa means quickly. ثم للتراخي. I went to school, long duration, and the sequence is important. The sequence is important, but the duration is what? Long. وأهديك إلى ربك, and I will guide you to your Lord. What's the letter? فتخشى. Sequence is important, and the duration is small. The guidance comes first, then al-khashya, then the fear. The guidance has to come first because sequence is important. When you're guided, when you are truly guided, when you understand the majesty of Allah Azza wa Jal, when you understand, when you feel the awe of Allah Azza wa Jal, when you feel how majestic and how powerful and al-huda, al-hidayah is in your heart, what's going to happen? You're going to fear Allah and you're going to fear Him quickly. Okay? Now, what did Pharaoh do? What's the next ayah? فَكَذَّبَ وَعَصَى. فَكَذَّبَ وَعَصَى. Whatever Musa alayhi salam told him, whatever discussion happened between them, Pharaoh said what? Yeah, I don't believe. He denied. I don't believe in whatever you're doing. كذب. Okay? فَكَذَّبَ, and he was disobedient. وَعَصَى. Asa means he what? He was what? Disobedient to Allah Azza wa Jal. I'm going to tell you another word for disobedience that is important because there are many words for disobedience. Yes? Yes? Oh, oh yes, I'm sorry. That's why I'm relying on you. So, وَأَهْدِيَكَ إِلَى رَبِّكَ فَتَخْشَى. So, whatever Musa alayhi salam said to Pharaoh, he didn't believe. So Musa alayhi salam had to show him what? He had to show him a sign. He had to show him a sign. فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرَى. This is a very important verse. Jazakallah khair, brother. فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرَى. He showed him the big sign. What was the sign? What was the sign? Musa alayhi salam came with many signs. We're going to spend some time on this ayah. What was the sign that Musa alayhi salam showed him? It could be the stick. It could be something else. Or the hand. What other signs did Musa have? There were 9 signs mentioned in the Quran. Some happened quickly and some happened after some time. Do you know the 9 signs? In Surah Al-A'raf, you can find the 9 signs. The stick turning into a serpent or a snake, yes? The hand, white. What's the third one? Yes? Yes, 9 ayat, 9. We're trying to count. Yes, what's number 3? Yes? The stick in the hand is 1 and 2. Yes, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I memorized them that way. The 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the brother Khalid said, the locusts, the frogs, the lice, the blood. Yes? Huh? Yes, I'm going to get them now. The staff turning into the snake, Surah Al-A'raf 107. The hand bright white, 108. The years of drought and shortage that happened, verse 130 in Surah Al-A'raf. Musa himself becoming fearless in Surah number 28, verse 32. The flood, the locust, the lice, the frogs, and the blood in Surah Al-A'raf 133. But Allah Azza wa Jal says here, He showed him one sign. He showed him one sign. فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرَى. And I want you to know something. In Arabic, you have something called ism tafdil, which is the comparative. So you have kabir, which is big. The comparative is what? Akbar. Ism tafdil. This is bigger than this. And then you have the superlative, which is what? Al-Akbar. The biggest. Okay? This superlative is masculine form. You can have this superlative in a feminine, which is what? Al-Kubra. Okay? So you have Kabir, which is big. You have Akbar, which is this chair is bigger than that chair. And then you have Al-Akbar, which is the biggest. And if it's in the feminine format, it's Al-Kubra. Okay? Just like we say, Asma'ullah Al-Husna, the most beautiful name. You have high, then you have A'la, and then you have Subhana Rabbiya Al-A'la, the highest. Okay? All right. So he showed him the biggest sign. The biggest sign. Let me tell you something about Egyptian mythology. This is going to change the way you look. I know we've been told the story of Moses and Pharaoh since we were little kids. But I want you to know some facts about Egyptian mythology so you can understand why Allah Azza wa Jal chose this and what could be this big sign and why this confrontation between Musa alayhi salam and Pharaoh happened that way. Egyptians believed that there is a god in Egyptian mythology called Ra. And Ra was the god of the brightness and the sun and all of that good stuff. Good one. And he traveled the universe in a boat. You can see this boat, this big boat when you go to Egypt near the pyramids, okay? There's another god called Apep. This is the god of the underworld, okay? And this god brings darkness. And this god is nothing but a big what? Serpent. Is nothing but a big serpent. And every day there's a fight that goes on between the god of the underworld, Apep, Apophis, and Ra. And Pharaoh himself and the priests would worship Ra so that the sun can rise in the morning. When the sun rises in the morning, it means the god Ra has overcame Apep, which is the serpent. I want you to imagine the Egyptian mentality of being scared and petrified of what? All their life. Snakes. Snakes and a big serpent to them is a reminder of what? The god of what? Of the underworld. It is such a big scare for them. When Musa alayhi salam, when Allah Azza wa Jal called him and told him, lay down your staff, and the staff turned into a snake, what did Musa do? What did he ran away. And Allah Azza wa Jal told him what? Because Musa was raised where? In Egypt. There is a connotation of fear with snakes, right? And even when the showdown between Musa alayhi salam and the magicians, and they threw their sticks and it turned into, or it appeared as if it turned into snakes, still the Quran says that Musa had what in his heart? Exactly. He had fear in himself. And awjasa is a different type of fear, which is the fear that you hide inside your heart. You don't show it. Ibrahim alayhi salam, when the angels came and he presented to them the what? The qurban, right? And then they did not eat. The same word. أوجس. Exactly. It's a different, because there are so many different beautiful types of fear in the Quran. And so the mentality of why didn't the staff turn into a crocodile, into a timsah or something? You know, one of the Nile. Why didn't it turn into a lion? Musa carrying a stick that turns into a lion on command whenever he wants. Allah Azza wa Jal chose the stick turning into a big serpent. I want you now, after I told you the facts about Egyptian mythology, how has it changed the way you're looking at this story now? What's Musa holding in his hand? It's as if Musa is holding in his hand what? The God of the what? I'm holding the God of the underworld, and whatever you guys are afraid of, it's in my command. And he goes to Pharaoh and he shows him al-ayat al-kubra. He's like, here's the stick turning into a serpent, and I have full control over what you're claiming to be Rabb, but you're worshiping another God, and you're afraid of the God of the underworld. And my stick turns into a serpent. You see, somebody's smiling. Somebody got it now. فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرَى. He showed him the biggest sign. And then what did Pharaoh do? He's living in فَكَذَّبَ وَعَصَى. And so he denied and he disobeyed. There's a different word for disobey that I want to shed light on, which is the word fasaqa. There are many different words of disobey, just like there are many different words of fear. But the word fasaqa is a different word of disobey. Fasaqa is a word that is used, for example, with fruits. When a fruit was good, like an apple is good, and then you leave it for a long time, and it turns what? Green and moldy, correct? And it's inedible at this point, correct? But at some point it was what? It was good and edible, but now it's not. Who in the Quran, which character in the Quran is most deserving of this word fasaqa? Shaitan. What did you say, sister? Oh. Shaitan. Surah Al-Kahf. إلا إبليس كان من الجن ففسق عن أمر ربه. Because at some point, Shaitan was what? He was good. And then Allah Azza wa Jal used this verb fasaqa because he turned rotten. From good, he turned into bad. Anyway, فكذب وعصى. Now we have a thumma. Now we have a thumma, which means there is a period of time. Thumma adbara, he turned away from Musa alayhi salam. Thumma adbara what? Yas'a. What's a sa'i? A sa'i is to do what? When you pace, a sa'i bayn al-Safa wal Marwa, when you pace. So what's the imagery that the Quran is giving us now about Pharaoh? That Musa alayhi salam, he turned away. He got defeated in the first confrontation with the staff and the stick and all of the conversation. So he turned his back, and then he started what? Pacing. He started pacing back and forth like this. What does that show when someone is pacing back and forth? That he's what? Yes? Yes, he's worried. And he's what? He's restless. He's worried and he's restless and he's pacing back and forth, and he's consulting now with who? He's consulting with the priests on what to do. Correct? فَحَشَرَ. Hashara, when you heard something, it means he forced the Egyptians to come to the showdown. فَحَشَرَ. He gathered people, but gathered in a way like you have to come. You have to see this. فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى. And he called on them and he said what? He said what? Here's that word again. I told you, brother, hold on to this word, right? What did he say? I am Rabbukum al-A'la. I am your Rabb. The next ayah. فَأَخَذَهُ الرب or فأخذه Allah. Now sternness comes, seized by Allah Azza wa Jal. فأخذه Allah. You see now the difference, that sometimes when you find the word Rabb, it comes in certain situations. I'm not going to say all the time, but most of the time you'll see the word Rabb coming in certain situations with believers, where there's gentleness, where there's an introduction from Allah Azza wa Jal to His servants, and you will find the word Allah with sternness. فَأَخَذَهُ اللَّهُ. Allah seized him. Nakal, severe punishment. A severe punishment in the akhirah and in this life. فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى. إن في ذلك, إن, indeed, in this story, indeed in this lesson, indeed in this reflection, لعبرة, a warning, a reflection for all of us, and especially for Quraysh at the time. Liman, the second time you will find this word, it's repeated 3 times in this surah. Liman what? To the person who wants to have what? Fear, khashya of Allah Azza wa Jal. In this story, in what was just told to you, is a reflection, a warning, a lesson to anyone who wants to fear Allah Azza wa Jal. We've come to the conclusion of the translation, and now it's time for reflection together and some questions, because this is how we even reflect more. So, any questions about the translation or about what we've just covered? And we're going to stop here, and there'll be one last time, inshallah, and then we'll be done with Surah Al-Nazi'at. Yes? Talk in the mic.
Yeah, you guys hear me? No, I don't think we will ever know, but I'm thinking to myself, what would have happened if Pharaoh, if he accepted guidance from Musa, what would have happened? Would have been...
Well, the entire of Egypt would have been a Hebrew state.
Huh?
Nothing. All of Egypt would have, they would have, I don't know. It would have been great. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so kind and so merciful. Allah Azza wa Jal is so kind and so merciful. The punishment that came to Pharaoh, I don't know exactly how many years, but the signs and the opportunities, one sign after another. You don't believe in this, then this. You don't believe in this, okay, years of drought. You don't believe in this, then the flood, then the locust, then the lice, then the frogs, then the blood. How many chances and opportunities? What's it gonna take for you to understand that you have no control? What's it gonna take? And all of this is a mercy from Allah Azza wa Jal. All of this is a mercy from Allah Azza wa Jal, trying, not Allah Azza wa Jal trying, but He's giving the opportunity. That's Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim right there. That's Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim right there. Yes? Share your thoughts. Share, if you want to grab an opportunity to take the mic, yes?
On فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى. So I want to just strengthen my first opinion, because he's challenging the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who deserves to be worshipped. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. and he said, and he claimed that he is the one who to be worshipped. And also فَاسْتَخَفَّ قَوْمَهُ فَأَطَاعُوهُ. Because of this, Allah is taking revenge for his name, because as ulama said, al-jaza'u min jinsil amal. So this the same way he treated, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take him that way and give him the punishment. So still I'm just on the principle that the Allah is that all the creation is that you worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Rabb is showing his mercy and his everything, to his servants. So that is in Surah Al-Rahman also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلِ ادْعُوا اللَّهَ وَادْعُوا الرَّحْمَنَ. He mentioned these two things because that the relation of Ar-Rahman is coming into Ar-Rabb, and the relation for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is from bottom to the top. It will not contradict. That's what I want to do. Add up, inshallah.
Yes. Please go ahead and take a chance to share your reflection. We want to hear your voice. Everybody wants to hear your sisters. No questions today. MashaAllah. No reflections today.
So, how much time have passed between each punishment?
Between each what?
Punishment.
Each punishment?
Yeah. Like
You mean each sign that
each
was?
sign.
I don't really have an accurate account about how many years or how many that. Inshallah, we'll dive into this beautiful story. Like I said, the story of Musa alayhi salam is mentioned so many times in the Quran, and you're always looking at it from a different angle. But I don't know exactly how many years from the time Musa alayhi salam came. If anybody has this information, please share with us. I don't know how many years from the time Musa went to Pharaoh until Pharaoh's death by drowning. I don't know exactly how many years, but it was a period of time.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is that each sign, right? When one sign happened,
I don't
Musa
have.
made a dua, then that one go away.
Yeah,
How
yeah, yeah.
long, what is the?
I don't know, brother. I don't exactly have a specific timeline. I don't have, but I can research it, inshallah. Because the story of Musa is one of the biggest stories in the Quran. You know what I mean? And so I was, it had to be, it's only mentioned here in approximately maybe 5, 7, 9 ayahs, right? But there's like Surah Al-A'raf and Surah Al-Qasas and different surahs where it's 50 plus ayahs, but I don't exactly have the time between each sign.
The way that the Quran was revealed, as you know, it's through 23 years. According to its importance and necessity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals that. So the history of Musa alayhi salam with Fir'aun was revealed in different ways, but it is the same history. But Allah, when he narrated he narrated in different ways, so to give us another angle of understanding. So the time is not important. The important is that the first thing that Musa alayhi salam came with was the stick and also his hand. After that, it was in one place. So it should be out there, other people also to be invited to this, because it is the rahmah for all. So the first thing that he did to bring all the sorcerers, and bring all the people, and he shows that. So most of the people, they saw, and still when they deny, Allah send another sign. This is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When these signs are fully, utilized, and the people understand it, then the punishment will be sure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَجَحَدُوهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُمْ. Allah will not punish you if you are in a doubt or in a confusion, it will clear for you. So they saw all that sign. Then with all this, they deny. Then the punishment came, and as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned for us, they be drawn in that sea. So you do not have to focus on how long it takes, but we have to focus on what we can take from the story. That's what I want to mention, inshallah.
Yeah, since it's not related to the ayah, but I want you to explain in which verse in the Quran when Allah says that he is Rob, and other ayah maybe he uses ilah. What's the difference between the two? And then because when I was a kid, I was told that if Muhammad says that la Rob ilallah, then the Quraysh would accept it. But since it's la ilaha illallah, then they denied it. I said la Rob ilallah. If Prophet Muhammad says to the Quraysh that it's la Rob ilallah, then maybe the Quraysh would accept it. But I don't know whether it's true or not. But and the second one, I would like to know when Allah mentioned in the Quran as a singular form, like innani anallah or ud'uni astajib lakum, and then in other verse he uses nahnu. What's the difference between two? I know it's not related to the ayah, but I want to know. Thank you.
So the brother had two questions. The second question, why would Allah Azza wa Jal use Allah in a singular format and sometimes in the plural format? This is a very easy answer. Anybody wants to tackle this? The majestic we? Yes? Yeah, please. Brother Khalid's on a roll today.
Yeah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned inna or nahnu as a plural, it doesn't mean that he is more than one. So it means that he is honoring and magnifying himself, and that we should also look at him in that way, that he is greater than everything. I don't know in other language if it is there, but I'm from Ethiopia. When we respect somebody, we say they, like making plural. And in Arabic literature, it's known also. Those kings, they will not say, I the king, we the king, نحن ملك المملكة العربية السعودية, for example. They say نحن, he is one person. So this is, in Arabic tradition, it's known that doesn't have any confusion. That's why the Quraysh at that time, they didn't ask this question. When Allah mentioned this, they just know it, that they accept it. When it comes to the Rabb that you ask, and he didn't, if he said, La Rabba illa Allah, they already accept that one. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, they accept it. وإذا قيل لهم من خلق السماوات والأرض لا يقولون الله. Allah also mentioned for us that the gap is that the worship, and even they recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أجعل الإله آلهة إلها واحدة. So their debate was about how come we worship only one while there are multiple of them. So ilah, the one who should be worshipped, is this one. So Allah starts with Quraysh with something that they did not recognize. He built on what they recognize. Nowadays, atheists, for example, if we want to call the atheist towards Islam, we cannot start by saying, as if we agree on what the heaven and the earth is created by Allah. They don't even recognize Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. So we have to prove that there is God. some ulama now, the one who take from the book ilm, they come, they start, Allah starts from the Tawheed al-Uluhiyya, we have to start from there. It's not like that. He starts from where they do not know, or where they did not accept. They accept Rububiyyah, then he recognizes and he build on it. So in America, for example, the majority of the problem is atheist people. So we cannot say, they are already accept the Rububiyyah. We have to prove that there is Allah. Especially we have a youngster here. This, when they go to school, they will be challenged with this. There are a lot of atheist students are there. They will tell them, prove your Lord. Prove there is a God. So we have to also, as ulama, we have to teach this our kids, inshallah.
The people in Quraysh, it's all about money and finance at the end of the day. And the people, this was a desert. It had no water, it had nothing. But what Quraysh had, it had the idols from all of the different tribes. So they were financially very wealthy because the people came in. The only thing that the Arabs knew how to do at the time was 2 or 3 things. They came in, worshiped their idols, that the people from Quraysh kept them nice and maintained, and they did the trade. And what's the third thing that people of Quraysh do? Compete with one another in poetry and language. And that's how they entertained themselves. And they came to Quraysh to do just that. Worship their idols, go back home. Worship the idols, trade, and compete in poetry. And so there was no way that they were going to consolidate all of those idols into one God, because financially it was not conducive for them to do so. You see what I mean? Yeah. Yes?
It seems to me like if Allah mentioned himself with nahnu, like nahnu nazzalna al-dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidun, it seems like it's not Allah alone, but he needs help from others. Like if Allah said that I created the universe, it's Allah himself. But if nahnu nazzalna al-dhikra, Allah, Jibril also helps Allah in conveying the verse to Prophet Muhammad. Is that right?
In this particular ayah that the brother mentioned, if you were just to count how much tawqeed, affirmation, that it is no one except Allah Azza wa Jal that sent down the dhikr, it's so many. Just analyzing this ayah, inna harf tawqeed, inna lit tawqeed, nahnu, the majestic we, nazzalna, it's in plural format, the noon in the beginning and the noon in the end. This ayah has so much affirmation and tawqeed that it's Allah Azza wa Jal. And just like Brother Khalid said, in the Quran, it's not just in this ayah, in many locations, it's called the majestic we, like the King of Kings. When it's pluralized like this, it's called the majestic we. It has nothing to do with pluralizing that Allah Azza wa Jal needed help, or that is multiple gods that sent down the Quran. Okay? Yeah. Anything else? Yes, brother? I didn't want to dive in deeper into the grammar of tazakka, but there is tazakka and tatazakka. Okay? When you add the extra ta, it means, do you want to purify everything wrong that you have been doing? Okay? For example, I'm going to tell you something. At the very end of this surah, okay? Especially, I'm going to go to the verse right here. فإذا جاءت الطامة الكبرى. Okay? When the great calamity comes. Okay? يوم on this day not يذكر الإنسان ما سعى. On this day, the insan, mankind, isn't just going to remember a little bit of what he has done. It's يتذكر. That extra ta means each one of us will remember every single detail of what we have done. Okay? That extra ta, okay? Between يذكر and يتذكر. Apply that same rule to this ayah that you just mentioned. هل لك إلى أن not تتزكى. Do you want to purify yourself from all the wrongdoings that you have done? No. The leniency is even in the subtlety of the grammar of the word. هل لك إلى أن just تزكى. Just one kind of purification. Just acknowledge a few of the things that you have done wrong. Do you see what I mean? So the wording is very lenient and very kind, ordered by Allah Azza wa Jal to say something